Members, the House has resumed. We are on the first reading of the Administration of Community Sentences and Others Bill. Before the dinner break, Charles Chauvel was speaking and has 3 minutes 15 seconds remaining. Charles Chauvel.
Mr Speaker, thank you. Mr Speaker, before the break, I was just making some general comments about the efficacy of community sentences. And it's, I think, useful for the House tonight that the proportion of offenders sentenced to home detention in 2007 through to 2009 that were reconvicted in the following 12 months, the rates for each year were 21.5% and 23% respectively, were less than half those convicted for a short-term prison sentence, according to the Ministry of Justice's review of the sentence of home detention. The prison figures were 50.3% and 52.6%. So what that tells the House is, in terms of combating recidivist offending, these community sentences can be up to twice as effective. Now, Judith Collins herself has said we need to put a lot more emphasis on rehabilitation, but one of the problems we've seen in the last 4 years is there's just been no change at all to those recidivism statistics, and in fact reconviction rates have gone up, which is why we saw the Salvation Army give the government an F earlier in the year in its State of the Nation report on combating recidivism. The other reason why community sentences are important, sir, is cost. The taxpayer pays $58 a day to keep somebody in home detention, about a quarter of the $249 per day it costs to keep a person imprisoned. So it's fiscally responsible to examine the widening use of home detention rather than dismissing it as a not soft on crime option. It's absolutely the case, sir, that provided these sentences are properly administered, they are not soft options, and as we can see from the figures, they do give value to the taxpayer and they are effective at reducing reoffending, which is something we should all be aiming for if we actually want a safer society in the long term. So, sir, Labor, as I said, will support this bill to Select Committee. We'll be looking carefully at it at Select Committee to see that it is actually adequate and fit for purpose. There are concerns around extended supervision orders and whether they are adequate. We saw the recent case of a person on a bus in Hamilton subject to one of these orders, having been a sexual offender who re-offended in that circumstance. Clearly there is an issue around the surveillance of those on ESOs, and that needs to be looked at. Also, sir, as I said before, the fact that we've got the Bail Act being amended in this legislation and by another minister in another bill introduced to the House today indicates that there is a bit of a disarray and a disconnect in respect of justice and law and order policy on the other side, and we're going to want to see some guarantees that that's being addressed. But, sir, subject to those caveats, we will be supporting this reading of the bill.
Call Jackie Dean.
Mr Speaker, the jury's